is. And
Oh
it's,
my goodness.
yeah, I
Yeah.
always go with what resonates, of course, everyone. But yeah, the law of one is another lifelong study.
Oh, I was going to bring up the love one. I just, oh my gosh. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody recently who's very versed in it, and I was like, I just keep going, keep explaining, because I've been listening and listening, and it's so powerful. The raw material is just, to me, I'm like, yep, this
Hmm.
feels this feels expansive enough. This feels like cosmic truth. This feels right to me.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so, you're right. I love that expansive word, and it's so powerful. For me anyway, it takes me sometimes time to process. It takes time to process each paragraph or each question, because there's a gentleman who asks the questions from Raw, and then the answer is like, wait a minute, I need to rewind that, because I have it also on audio, the first two books, I think, and then
Yeah.
I haven't got past the first two books. I haven't even got to the third book yet.
I mean, I'm at like, I think 106 was the number
Okay,
for those, but I mean, I'm gonna have to go back again myself.
yeah.
I've been listening to it. I think
Hmm.
I often would rewind and like, wait a minute, what did you, okay,
Right,
how did you say that? Wait, what? All right. I think,
right.
oh my
That's
God.
kind of like A Course in Miracles.
Oh yeah.
When I was reading it, this was a while ago, 20 years ago. I used to carry that book around with me as my Bible, and I put it on my nightstand, carried it around with me everywhere I went.
I
I just
get it.
wanted to feel that energy with me, feel his energy. Yeah.
Well, today for me, it's day 31. Today was,
31. Okay.
I'm not a victim of this world.
Yeah.
And I had a situation. It's funny. I had a little encounter with somebody who I know dearly. And I could feel myself like, you're wrong, though. That's not right. You shouldn't be doing that or talking to me that way. And it wasn't a big deal, but, and I just thought, and I listened to, there's a lot of different, um, they go into what it means and some channeled wisdom around it. And I was thinking about the different stories, like even, I was listening to the woman who was channeling Yeshua's story about, being his demonstration of being on the cross. From what I understand, it was to demonstrate he didn't suffer. His consciousness was at such a level, and that we can do that. Not that we want to be on a cross, not to experience that, but that suffering, you've heard suffering is optional, but to hear, there's something about that was like, if you could do that, it reminded me actually of like Nelson Mandela, right? Who was in jail for 27 years and came out like with gratitude and didn't really suffer because he had that kind of consciousness. And I thought, this is the point. Like, I can stay in a place of not a victim.
Hmm.
So if these people can do it in this way, like, oh my gosh, I can handle a tough conversation.
Yeah.
I just find this, I don't know, the work, all of these different truths so helpful. Just the Course in Miracles has been kicking my butt in a good way, in a good way.
Yeah, that kind of stuff sure brings things up. Well, it helps us become aware of right? Aware of our reactions, our actions, all of it, and the ego,
Oh,
and what the
yes.
ego is feeding us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the piece, there's that, and I've heard this also. I still love Abraham Hicks, Esther,
Hmm.
who channels
Oh yeah.
Abraham. One person who is tapped into to higher mind, to source energy, to their higher self, inner being, whatever you call it, is more powerful in the best of ways than millions who are not. And I'm not there yet, Sharon, but I'm working
Yeah.
on getting there, so I can at least and I think everyone probably tuning in, we're all here to bring more light, to bring more
Hmm.
peace and higher consciousness. And that's what I feel like has been my calling since I was little. And I did not know how to express this, and always felt like, why this is not what people are saying in school they want to do. Everyone's like, oh, I want to be, I want to be a talk, a reporter or a lawyer or, an accountant. And I'm like, I think I want to help people like
Mhm.
get unshackled and like develop their spiritual connection. I'm like, what is wrong with me? So yeah,
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not fostered most in the education system, unless you're going to a private school
yeah,
that teaches that, um, that fosters that. But it's unfortunate
yeah.
because I believe um, that's what's happened to our world. And I remember 20 years ago when I was going through my quickening, dark night of the soul, Kundalini awakening, whatever we want to call it. My guides called it quickening. And I would stand outside and I'd scream at the top of my lungs, my name. I am Sharon Sananda Kumara, and I'm here to lift up this God-forsaken place, something like that. And I always said God, they had me there was I was channeling it, God forsaken, not meaning that God had forsaken us, but that
Oh,
yeah.
that's beautiful. God,
Hmm.
yeah. Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
And yeah, and it made so much more sense as time went on. But I was calling to the higher realms, I guess. Hey, I'm here. Help me, help us. We
Yeah.
need your help. Yeah,
Can I share a quick like anecdote to that? And just
please do.
like,
Yes.
well, so I'm somebody who it's interesting. Once I made that decision to follow my soul, all of a sudden I started getting like major signs. When I say signs, I mean legit, like for me, 90% of these signs are on the road. I think because I'm in a different state. I mean, I'm still paying attention, but I'm talking like literal signs on the road, like signs on the people's license plates or on the trucks, like
Mm.
really some crazy ass stuff where I've documented a lot of it. I'm like,
Good.
whoa, like,
Yeah.
okay, there is, and other signs and synchronicities as well. And recently with this Course in Miracles, and there's so much focus on just really getting the ego, how uh strong the ego can be. I literally from the day one of starting, even today I saw one. Never, ever, ever, ever have I seen this before. Almost every day I see a truck, like huge truck with the biggest letters of ego, all the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, you are reminding me how prevalent. You can't even see it sometimes.
Mhm.
Happened today. I was driving and I'm like, oh, there it is again. My God, my ego. Like it's so it makes me laugh, but I've been asking, and I sometimes refer to, the concept of like for me, Yeshua, Mary, Magdalene. I sometimes am like, listen, guides, teachers, like of the highest light, like please, whoever, wherever you are, like please guide me and make it clear because I need to like see it or hear it or something. And
Mhm.
I had a crazy experience about 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's a weird story, but it was so bizarre. My husband was with me and he's like, I cannot believe that just happened. I'm like,
Julie, nothing's weird to me anymore. Okay, just so
nothing's
you know.
weird. Okay. You want to hear the quick story? It's really
Of
wild.
course I do. Yes, please.
We were talking again. I've been really practicing and applying these lessons, the Course in Miracles right now. That's what I'm doing today. And it's very practical, they're bite size, which I love. So it was really looking at false beliefs and this idea that, what I see is not really what's reality. Right. And I had, um, I had made a comment. I had just been feeling like a little bit of, if anyone's ever gone through body shame, I don't know. I kind of felt
Mhm.
like, oh gosh, something's going on. I don't know what's happening. My hormones are changing. I was not feeling it in my body and went into some attack thoughts and it was not great. And I was saying, I just would love like a sign or just to know all is well and to just feel that love, for my body, myself. And my husband was being very loving. And I just like, yeah, I just would love to feel this from like spiritual, like the cosmic realm. And making dinner. This is so random. I've used this so many times. It's going to sound very strange, but it's a box of hearts of palm spaghetti. So it's just spaghetti made from hearts of palm. Very strange, but it's actually really good. I don't do a lot of gluten stuff. So I was taking this bag out of the box. I've done this many, many times. I look at the bag, and on the back is a piece of masking tape. And in like indelible marker, it says 613. I was like, what the heck? 613. So in the Jewish tradition is actually a very important number.
Mm,
It's supposedly the amount of good deeds, the commandment, the things that you're supposed to be doing. It's also, there's supposedly a connection with pomegranates having 613 seeds.
oh,
When I was trying to decide whether to stay in my marriage or not, for a full year, and I kid you not, every morning, every evening that I looked at the clock, it was 613. So it became
nice.
this self-love, self-truth, like trust yourself. That's what it means to me. Like, just like, you think of a pomegranate, just this beautiful, like just beauty and trust and like faith. And I open it. I actually saved it and put it on my altar, and there's no reason for it. There's no understanding for it. But on the back was this big piece of masking tape. It says 613. And as I'm talking, and he knows because I've been saying this for the last 14 years, like 613, I just looked and I'm like,
Uh,
that's expensive. I don't know who is
That
talking to
is
me.
awesome. I love that.
Like, well,
That's
okay.
awesome. Yeah. How random is that? A piece of masking tape? Masking tape, you said? With the,
Masking tape with like big letters, numbers 613. Nothing else. Nope.
I love that. I love how spirit works. I mean, they're just,
Yeah,
whoever, he, she, they, whoever is just amazing
amazing.
when we're open to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I've been, told, and we understand this, you get those knowings, is that the universe, source, our guys are constantly talking to us, and we probably see a small part of what what we're really getting around is. And I know, and you probably know this too, Julia, when you're open, as you're more expanded, you just see it all around and feel it all around us.
Oh yeah.
It's just as you walk throughout your day, and it's all around. The the communication is, and we're in tune. When we're in tune, it's all there.
Always. Always.
Mhm.
And I do think, going back to these basic teachings of love, right? Like, of
Yeah.
how do you be loving? How do you stay loving when somebody supposedly hurts you, betrays you, does something to you, and remembering that projection, what we're seeing on the outside is really, what's going on inside. And so, um, loving that part of us that might be that I was attacking myself, right? Like, loving just that, to me, to try to just do that for the rest of your life, forget it. You got enough. Like, I don't need to worry about anyone else's business. Anyway, like,
Right.
enough to take that on. And I will say, in that vibration, that's where I'm even more in tune, where we're more in tune. I think because it's this the I believe that's what spirit is. That's what the universe source is literally that. And I'll say that's been something that's been just in how would I say this? With, at least sometimes in religion, at least what I've experienced, for me, what doesn't feel as aligned these days is, the idea of God being judging.
Yeah.
Um, and, I'm mindful. I have people around me, that I know, that are raised in different religion traditions where there is a judging God. And I'm not here to say anyone's right or wrong. For me, when I feel into it, I felt this since I was little. It's like, no, I don't think so at all. I don't think God judges me or judges any of us. I don't
Mhm.
think that's the world. That's the world we've created as humans. That's not the world that is true for what spirit is. And so this practicing of this unconditional, this expansive love, it's no joke. It's everything. And I'm, really seeing where I can amp that up even more.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. judgment thing with God is it's old news now. It
Yeah.
is. It's the
Yeah.
old news. It's the old way of looking at things. And sorry if anyone out there is getting offended by this, but God, uh yeah, I mean, having two near death experiences and having these, I'm not saying that I'm the expert. I just know what's right for me. And going
Yeah.
through a life review, that type of thing,
Mm,
right? When I believe that, okay, as you were talking, I was getting this and like you were talking about earlier, is how things are turned around, inverted in in our world, right?
yeah.
That when we go through a life review after we pass, we judge ourselves. Okay, and we know when you're aware, we know that we are expressing, we are God expressing, right? We are expressing, having experience. We are God within us. We are sparks of God, fractals, whatever we want to call it, of the God source, that type of thing. So it's, to me, I feel that that has been inverted to program us to believe that God is outside of us and judges us when we are actually, and it's not really judgment, it's just taking responsibility and seeing and feeling how we walk through our life, how we walk through our life experience, and being in the other um, beings' shoes, how we affected our people around us, animals around, not just people, animals, any sentient, anything sentient, anything we come in contact with, how are we affected that, and
Mm,
that to me is the total inversion right there,
mm.
right? When you think about it, when I think about it, that's what I see.
It's interesting. I just had an image as you were speaking. I got this image in my mind's eye of just if you could really see the energy that we all have, right? The energy, the field around us, and how is that affecting the plants that are in our
Yeah,
home or outside? Like I almost could get this image of, it's hard to really explain it, but different energies mixing, and how, if you're like if I'm angry with my mom for something,
mm-hmm.
that energy that, they showed that the Dr. Emoto study did such a beautiful job with the water, like it looks like daggers, right? Like, so that energy that could be affecting my cat, that could affect my plant. I think it's funny, I'm looking at this scene behind you and it reminds me of, something like that, right? Like that beautiful flowing energy, and that we
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that because we seem so solid and individualized, yet I don't know. I just got this image that was like, no, your energy, your
Right,
energy.
we're energy, we just think that we're solid, but we're not, because we're
Yeah.
vibrating at a slower frequency. The Van Gogh behind me, yeah, I think that his art has got to be that he was going through a spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul, all of that. I mean, what he brought into the world is
Yeah.
fabulous. Yeah, amazing. I mean, how do you do that kind of stuff without moving through? Oh, I just saw a bright light. Um,
Ooh, nice.
yeah,
In the
yeah.
painting?
Huh?
You saw a bright light in the painting behind
I
you?
just saw it right in front of me. Yeah, I just
Uh,
saw it right in front of me. A spark of light as I was talking about Van Gogh.
oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, he came to my sister and I take paranormal and orb photography pictures, and we have cars, and he actually came to us in an orb. We could, because she's an artist, and he came to her, and you could just see him just as clear as day in that orb, his face. Her and I
Oh,
can, but that, yeah. So there's that connection there. But anyway, yeah, I love that because it's so true. Because we are energy, we interact with everything and everyone.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, that quote, just um, be responsible for your energy, like it's just, I had this moment of just feeling of gratitude to be here with you having this conversation. This is the kind of thing, this happens often where I think back, like if I had not listened to my soul, myself, there's no way I'd be here. I can tell you that right now. I can tell you
Yeah.
right now. Uh, I would not be doing this here. And you know, there's just these like little moments, I think, when we tune in and we follow, we're courageous enough to follow. And I was like, oh my gosh, look, this is one of the gifts. I get to be here with you, Sharon. And then anyone you're attracting, I know is fantastic. Like that's how it works, right? So I'm
Mhm.
like, all of
Right.
our people that are
Mhm.
watching, like, I'm like, oh, love to all the brothers and sisters here. And like, just trusting, you know, our soul knows the way.
Right.
And yeah, just anyhow, I just had a moment of like, wow, this is just what a gift to be here.
It is. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, I feel like we've known each other in Atlantis. I get this feeling when I look at you that we knew each other in Atlantis, Lemuria around that time. Do you have
Yes.
that inkling too?
Oh my gosh. So I'll share this is a
Okay.
other quick story. Again,
Sure.
this is like me growing up in like Boston area, intellectualism city. My parents very open, but okay, so when I was like 6 or so, I actually remember this very, very, very vividly. I was a really good swimmer. I always was a very strong swimmer, not fast, not good on a team, but very good in the water, very comfortable. And I just remember I was like swimming one summer afternoon and I like could have I felt like I lived there. And I was like, wow, can I breathe here? I feel like I could breathe here, but why would I be able to breathe in the water? I'm not a fish. And then I had this like, I think I'm a fish. And this was I remember telling my dad, it was like Saturday morning the next day. And I was like, you know, Daddy, I think I was a fish in the water some year. I think I used to be a fish, or I am, or I lived in the water. I lived in the water. He's like, thank God. My dad was like, it's quite possible, Julie. You could have. Maybe you are. Maybe you did. So
Nice.
you know, I don't really know for sure, but I can tell you that just the idea of that watery, from what I understand, there was water in I believe so, the Atlantis
Yeah,
area,
around surrounded by water. Well, yeah, the island, the main city of Atlantis. Yeah.
surrounded by water.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the water, that was another thing when I was at this training. People, Lemuria and Atlantis, those are the two. There was one other. They were like, "You are definitely." It was the neatest group of 40 people. I mean, someone who in the middle of it was evening, went outside, and I kid you not, his eyes turned green. He had a totally other something going on with him, soul non-human connection. And I was like, what is happening? Who am I here with? Loving, like a loving, I yeah, I won't get into his name because I don't know if he tells
Sure.
people. I
Yeah.
remember looking and I'm like, what is happening? Like it did not look fully human, Sharon. And I was like, okay, there's a lot more going on than my brain understand. So yes, Lemuria and Atlantis, I've always felt like that is a connection. The
That
more I've read,
connection.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I actually have memory and have been in experiences where I see myself as a mermaid.
maybe that's the water.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Atlantis, I understand too, we had mer people,
Mm,
Atlantis or Lemuria, may have been Lemuria, but there was we were able to the mer were able to live humans lived peacefully with the other beings in some
mm,
part of Atlantis too,
mm,
from what I understand. But yeah, so I mean, I've gone out of my body, just boom, pop out, and I'm underwater. And I look down and I see myself as a mermaid. I don't have any other language, aquatic being, aquatic female,
right.
many times. And I think, oh my gosh, my body is so freaking strong. I can feel how strong my body is. I mean, just
Yeah.
I've looked down and seen myself nursing a baby. I'm facing a dolphin. The dolphin's going like that, like look
Mm,
down, and I'm nursing a baby in the water, just floating there in the water, and I have a mate. And well, yeah, it
mm.
during my second NDE in 2001, Yeshua took me to a water planet. He said was like a home planet for me.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
I've seen I don't know that it's the same because who knows if there's infinite of those kinds of, this feels like, um, yeah, there's a part of me that's like, that actually feels very true and
Hmm.
very home-like.
Yeah, totally. And, I think a lot of us, maybe, consider an aquatic, planet as, an original home, not counting source home. That's
Yeah.
our original home, but an original type of physical form home for us. Um,
Mm.
yeah, because it's so fluid and it just feels so good
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Like
amazing.
there's
Yeah.
no boundaries. Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about your work, Julie. I want to hear about your work, more about your work.
Yeah. All of this, right, has kind of broke open from this really tough, challenging part. What actually happened before that, like many of us struggled with addiction. For me, it was actually in the sugar food category. That was my drug.
Mm,
And getting myself to a 12-step community actually saved my life. This was about
mm,
20 years ago. I was so struggling. I could not put, I have a funny story. It's not funny, but I had my hand in a like 6-pound bag of M&Ms and I could not stop eating them.
oh,
It was masking emotions. I did not want to deal with the emotions. And I think even the intuition I had, all of it. And it was like, do I go into a tree or do I go to a fellow, like a meeting or some, to this community? And it saved my life. It changed my life. And I actually think that excavation process started from, and I really do believe for those who might have done anything with the 12 steps, those are also channeled works. There's a lot of similarity with that, with Science of Mind, with teachings, even what I'm learning in Course in Miracles and Yeshua's teachings. And so I did a lot of hundreds of hours of program and meetings and working that it's a spiritual program. And I think that really helped to kind of crack open myself to the point where I woke up and was like, I'm not okay here. And ended up going into a really intensive, really powerful personal growth program where I was coached by somebody, and literally it was a lot of what he was coaching me on, but it was one question he asked that changed. It was a miracle, right? A change in perception, and my whole world changed literally with this question. I can still remember it, and I thought, wow, if I can have a true transformation by a question, I got to get into this. And I was a psychology major. I just knew, but I didn't want to be a psychologist. That didn't draw me. So I thought, well,
mhm.
whatever that is. And I ended up getting into coaching. And it's a really neat story. I didn't even know this place existed. It was right nearby one of the first acupuncture schools in the country on the East Coast. Ended up becoming a university, like brick and mortar. And they brought in major well-known experts in herbal medicine and nutrition from an integrative perspective and coaching. And I did a master's degree, ended up going back while I was working full time as a single
Mhm.
mom. I got my master's degree from an integrative school in health and wellness coaching, but it really was like human potentiality and consciousness. Uh,
Nice. Good for
we
you.
studied, yeah, we studied Dr. Emoto's study, epigenetics, and oh my gosh. So that I fell in love with it and ended up abandoning ship of my day job, which people thought, wow, you are brave because you know, benefits, salary.
Mhm.
I was a single mom at the time. My intuition was like, it's time to do your work, to do what you're here to do. And that has led to writing my first book, Get a PhD in You, which I hand wrote at first. I hand wrote the whole thing.
Wow.
That helped me to not feel freaked out by it. I was like, oh, I'm just writing in my journal. I write in my journal
Hmm.
all the time. And then speaking, and I started my own show where I talk about being your USG is really being tuning into your highest potential, into that love aspect of what we all are here to embody, and started my own coaching certification that brings in the healing arts and chakras and energy. And I still teach it. I still teach it at Georgetown. I still love, I love that work there. And I love being able to do it myself as well so that I can kind of bring in, I do a lot with heart intelligence, heart math.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I'm working on my next book, Sharon, and I still coach mainly women, but some men. And it's just I'm constantly listening. And my prayer is, hey, hey God, this is what I say. Hey God, you're my employer. So, I really am not positive. I think I'm on the right path here, but just kind of make it clear because I'm listening and I'm going to do the best I can and bring me the clients that I can serve and take the ones that I'm not. And, just kind of make it known, make it clear because you're the one employing me. You're my director, producer, my employer, my money, abundance, all of it, opportunities,
Right.
people comes through that portal, through that link. And that's been a big, help and a big shift for me. It's, I find to surrender what I'm doing, it feels more like I'm just, it's about being of service, making an impact.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. I
so,
noticed a theme here, which makes sense to me too. And it was my thing, one of my themes, patience and surrender.
oh God, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
easy yet.
Mhm.
I would say, uh, kind of a non-negotiable. Want to
Yes.
want to be a
Yes.
spiritually based entrepreneur. That that is it's for me. It's non-negotiable. The surrender, the faith, and the patience. It's like not always comfy, not at all, but needed.
It's it's part of the deal. Fortunately, unfortunately, whatever you want to call it, it's part of the ego
Yeah.
would say unfortunately, right?
Oh
But
God,
fortunately, it's
totally.
yeah, surrendering to who we really are, to
I
God, to source. Mhm.
totally. Well, I was laughing today. I do a lot of internally, like, hey, guides, angelic, like, God, please, like, give me a message, a sign, something. I could just use that. And um the song that was playing, I think it was actually at my gym of all places, was Patience by Guns N' Roses. And I'm
Ah,
like,
patience.
darn it, I know, but it's hard to have patience as a human. You know that. Come on, we're in a different world than where you are. It's no time, space change. Here it's
Yeah.
linear, but I know it's not. So I was laughing. I'm like, well, there you go.
That has been my theme definitely in this life. Patience and surrender are my two biggest themes in this life. So I hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not
Constantly.
easy. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we close out?
No, I was gonna say I can pull a card for us.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, yes. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, that would
Yeah,
be
no,
beautiful.
it's so fun. I just
I
have
want
them
to
on.
get your cards too. Yeah. And
These are
I see
fun.
the journal behind you. Let me get that too.
Yeah, all of this has been just kind of a like divinely inspired. Like I gotta have cards. I need them for me. And I wrote them one Sunday or Saturday. I just sat down for 3 hours and I'm like, these are the cards. Um, they're intention cards with some words of wisdom. So I'm gonna just
Okay.
see which one wants to play with us
Mm.
today. Okay, that one. See what it is. Oh, that's a good one. I like
Yeah.
it. Grounded. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Grounded. I can read it really quick if you want.
Please, please.
Intention. My feet are firmly planted on the floor. I am grounded, connected, supported, and nourished by Mother Earth. Love it. I have everything I need right now within me. I breathe in well being and feel a sense of grounding and exhale anything that doesn't serve me. Questions to ask your newest you. How can I be more grounded in my life? Which activities and people ground me? What are ways I can ground myself today? And I'll just say, I don't know this. Sharon, tell me like what I can feel for people watching is this might be something that some of I know myself included, might struggle with, is how to stay with all of what we're talking about and be really, really grounded and like literally in with Mother Earth, connected, aligned, and feeling that stable, that root chakra. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, I can't hear you.
I hit the mute button, sorry.
Oh.
Especially my dog is whining over here. So I'm like, it's what I was gonna say was that makes total sense. It, I tried to say, I should say, and with what's going on in the world now,
Yeah.
because you know what's going on around us can definitely knock us off center,
Yeah.
and then we become ungrounded. So yeah, that's perfect. Standing firm, and spring is coming, so we can walk outside on our side of the country. Where are you again?
Yeah, I'm in the Washington DC area, so
DC. Okay, so I don't know when spring comes there.
yeah,
Okay,
started right.
yeah,
April.
good. Here in Oregon, it's not quite. We had one day of spring, but but just walking around outside barefoot is it feels so good to feel
Yeah,
and stand there and breathe in her energy, right? Mother Earth's energy is it's amazing. I love that feeling.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good I think getting to like what I have to watch, the last thing I'll say is get very high in those higher realms and kind of remembering to me what I got too from that is, as
Yes.
we shift in consciousness, even dimensionally, and being human in this lifetime, staying grounded so that you're rooted, the stronger trees have roots that go way deep into the earth. And so that for me is always, I got chills just saying that, like roots
Mhm.
down and deep as you extend higher. Keep those roots deep.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I used to think that if you're out there in the ethers and flying around, everything was a good thing. When I first started, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm up here, I'm not down in that 3D mundane world. I'm up here. But we're here. We are here. We might as well be here
Yep.
because that causes problems. That's
Yep.
what got me off kilter big
Right.
time. Yeah.
Right. Good reminder.
Yeah. Grounding is so important. Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any other words of wisdom you'd like to share before we close?
I just would say thank you. This was such a joy. And the only thing I can say is really just we all have this sacred compass. Trust your heart. That's the compass. It will
Yes.
never lead you astray, even when you feel like you're in a really strange, odd space or the wrong neighborhood. You're not, your heart knows. And I think there's a lot more around that we don't even fully understand. I just know that whatever feels loving and truthful, like to really honor that, it's here to guide us, I think, to more love, more connection.
Yes. Yes. And so how can people reach you, Julie? You do, I understand you do personal sessions.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I do. I do still coach people individually, and I do bring in intuition. I kind of work with each person very I am trained as a coach and positive psychology, but I bring in intuitive practices as well, and I kind of tailor it to each person. And I have a academy where I certify coaches, spiritual life
Nice.
coaches. So the best thing to do is just find me at juliereisler.com. It's Reisler. Sometimes we get it backwards because we don't pronounce it correctly. Sure, my parents, my family like Americanized it, but yeah, juliereisler.com is the best way to find me. And then I have a lot of free meditations and some really great talks also on the app Insight Timer. I have a ton up there too
Mm,
for those who like that meditation mindfulness app. I have a lot of free things up there too if people want to get a sense as well.
perfect. And you have a podcast as well.
The
How do
USU. Yep. The podcast, the USU.
USU? Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Julie
Is it,
Reese.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say the website kind of it houses everything.
Oh, gotcha.
Um, it's just easy.
Okay. Perfect. And her books, yes. Go out and buy her book. It sounds fascinating. I know I'm going to definitely. And hopefully I can have you on again. I don't think we covered near enough what we could talk about.
This is so fun. I know. I'm
Good.
like, I feel like it's like we go in so many directions, but
Yeah,
thank,
that's okay. That
thank you
happens.
for the sacred space. Um, I appreciate it. For me, there was a whole like coming out of the spiritual closet, it felt like for a while. And, I'm just here to share my own experience, strength, spiritual connection. And I just believe we're all related. We're all related. Doesn't matter where you come from. We're all,
Exactly. Yeah. And I believe that you are definitely a light bearer for women, women, anyone who is afraid to take a leap of faith with their heart's desire and following that those really strong intuitions, that maybe there's something else that 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 you need to do to help bring your gifts into and your abilities into the world, and that you've done that and look where you are.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's a
Yeah.
lot. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to do the YouTube thing, subscribe, like, yeah, okay. And see you again soon. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
Mhm.